So firstly, it's the sentiment that I share in many of my episodes, and that is that you can never truly know the darkness behind someone's eyes. Hello my loves, and welcome to episode 24 of Makeup Mayhem, True Crime with me, Bella Monsoon. So today you're going to hear about 2 cases instead of 1. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Today it's a double feature. I'm always looking to keep the channel fresh and new, and most of all to create the kind of content that you as the viewer enjoys watching. So I'm trying and playing around with different formats of delivery and storytelling. So I would love to hear what you think at the end of the episode. Today I will be delving into 2 shocking and incredibly recent true crime stories to hit South Africa and the news within the past month. So if you have any cases that you'd like me to look into or cover, I include a link in my description box where you can submit your case suggestions. So today we're going to be covering 2 recent and shocking cases, literally a baby being sold for a couple of $100 and body parts being found in a fridge. But before we get into it, let me introduce myself. So here it is in a nutshell. I'm a mental health professional who just so happens to be obsessed with makeup, true crime, and uncovering the motives that drive people to do what they do. So what this means is that every single week I post a brand new video that looks at a true life crime from a psychological viewpoint. In these episodes, I also try to share psychological knowledge and concepts in an easy to understand format. So if that sounds like something that is right up your alley, then please consider subscribing and joining the Bellaboo family. But if makeup and true crime is not your thing and you prefer just listening to true crime stories, I also have a podcast, Murder and Mayhem, South African True Crime. You can find my podcast with a new episode available weekly on all major streaming channels like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. I will, as always, include a link in the description box to some mental health resources and channels, which you can access via my website, bellamonsoon.com, no matter where in the world you are situated. I mean, absolutely no disrespect to the victims mentioned nor their families. The purpose of this video is to shed further light on these shocking true crimes while spreading awareness about the potential psychological nature of the narrative. These cases have been thoroughly researched by myself and include real-life accounts, videos, and footage of and from individuals who were involved directly in the case. So without further ado, let's get on to the first case we're looking at. Our first case takes us to the busy township of Soweto, Gauteng, where human remains were found in the fridge of a Protea Glen home. So this is actually an ongoing case, which is why I use the word alleged as I describe the incidents. I will continue to use alleged in any case until there is a sentence and a verdict. The reason being that until found guilty, an alleged perpetrator is considered innocent, according to the eyes of the law. The victim, as it was later discovered, is thought to not only be the alleged perpetrator's own cousin, but also thought to be his wife. Yeah, I am not making this up. So let's get into it. So over the weekend of the 13th of November 2021, yes, like literally less than 2 weeks ago, a young woman made an absolutely shocking discovery in the fridge of her boyfriend's rented back room in Protea Glen. She was hungry, and so she decided to look through his fridge for something to eat. I mean, that's pretty logical. But instead of finding a snack or food, she found severed arms and legs. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is not what she had in mind. Her boyfriend and the alleged perpetrator, Flavio Hlabankhwane, who was 26 years old at the time, was actually out running errands. He, however, returned to a shocked and hungry girlfriend, and an outraged community. He was then apprehended by community members and he was later arrested by the police. So, who is Flavio anyway? Well, according to those who know him, Flavio is described as a peace-loving bookworm who spends most of his time with his mother. He's also incredibly smart, and after achieving 7 distinctions, 7 in matric, he went on to study at Wits. After attending Wits, he went on to secure jobs at well-known and prestigious companies, the latest of which being as a intermediate actuarial specialist at the prestigious Institute of Old Mutual. I mean, this guy is smart. Given all his achievements, he was also seen as an inspiration to his local community. As it goes with many of the true crime stories that I delve into, there was a far darker side to him than most were aware of. Tshepang Phetse was from Soshanguve in Tshwane. Her mother was recently deceased and she also had a twin sister. She also happened to be married to her first cousin, her mother's sister's son, Flavio. According to her twin sister, they had been in a relationship for the past 5 years and they had later gotten married. I will give you a moment to digest. Apparently, it is alleged that the marriage was due to the fact that soon herself and her twin sister would be receiving an inheritance from her late mother. So the reason there was inheritance money to begin with was that her mother had worked as a nurse in the UK for a good many years. Thus, her employers had actually set up a fund that after she had passed away would be paid out to her children. It's also alleged that she had actually gone missing after she had approached Flavio's mother, her aunt, and told her about the money that was soon to be incoming. So, according to family members, Flavio was also aware of this fact, and so it is alleged that he did it for the insurance money. Sound a little bit familiar? So, it is also alleged by family members that during her marriage to Flavio, he had also been incredibly controlling. He decided what she could wear, where she could go, and whom she could hang out with, essentially controlling her daily life and interactions. Although it is alleged that his own father was aware that he was married, but not whom he was married to, his mother, on the other hand, was very aware of whom his wife was. She had acknowledged her son's wife to the press and the public, but however, she had failed to disclose that his wife was also her niece. She has also gone on to decline any interviews or talks with the media. However, his father has spoken to the media. Both himself and other family members and community members remain shocked and in absolute disbelief. So, although the identity of the remains that were found in his fridge are still awaiting confirmation, the family of Tshepang have gone on to state that their daughter is deceased, as well as they have said that they know the identity of the woman who was found in the fridge. Despite the fact that all signs seem to point to Tshepang being the body that was found, the police only found Tshepang's ID whilst searching Flavio's home for more evidence. And then, a few days later, after the discovery of the arms and legs in the fridge, a head was found. And whilst the identification has not been confirmed as of yet, it is said that it is linked to this case. The unidentified head was found in a township neighboring Protea Glen. It is also alleged by the police, and according to a couple of reports that I read, that Flavio admitted to scattering the other body parts in a stream near Lenasia. So, as of me filming right now, there have been no confirmations of the body made just yet. Well, at least to the public, that is. However, there has been outcry for the community and they are seeking justice for Tshepang. After being arrested, Flavio immediately attempted to commit suicide. However, his attempts were not successful. So as I mentioned, this case is very much still underway. As of news this week, there will be a hearing of an application for Flavio to be sent for a mental evaluation following a second suicide attempt. This attempt was an alleged overdose on the medication he was administered following his first attempt. The case has been postponed until this hearing, which will take place on the 30th of November. A court order, meanwhile, has instructed for him to be detained at the hospital section of the Johannesburg Correctional Services, as he may require medical assistance and care. So, until further information is obtained or disclosed to the public, that is as much as we know. Like I said, this case is still pending, so we can't be sure whether the motive was purely financial or if this was a spur-of-the-moment murder, a crime of passion. We also can't be sure whether it was committed by Flavio alone, or if someone else was involved. And lastly, we cannot discount the fact that there might have been or may be a mental disorder at play. What we do know for sure, though, is that this case shocked many when it first broke. Firstly, for the gruesome and unusual way in which the body was discovered, and secondly, for the relationships that came to light, highlighting a major taboo in many societies: incest. I, however, will definitely be keeping an eye on the proceedings as the case continues, and if this is something that you'd like me to go in depth into once it has concluded, then please do let me know in the comment section down below. And with that, we move on to the second case, another case which made the headlines this month in South Africa. So our next case takes us to the bustling suburb of Booysens in Johannesburg. The case itself is actually from last year, however, it only reached some form of conclusion this year in November. But first, let me start at the beginning. In April of 2020, a baby boy was born to Wayne and Justine Lopsa. So it's not that unusual. I mean, babies are born every day, right? But the first red flag was that the parents did not go to register the birth at the Department of Home Affairs, which, by the way, is a legal offense. The reason for them not wanting to register the birth? Well, they planned on selling the baby. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Like, I wish you didn't, but you did. They wanted to sell their infants, and they didn't want any link or trace coming back to them. So, here's how this all went down. When the baby was around 3 months old in August of 2020, the couple met a woman named Saunders, who owned a food cart in Booysens. So, keeping in mind that this couple do not know Saunders from a grain of rice, Wayne initially asks her for food. He then goes on to ask her for 50 rand to buy diapers for the baby. So Saunders actually takes pity on this little baby whom they often bring to her food cart, and so she starts to buy him diapers and baby formula. It was later put onto record that the couple would make the baby drink Kool-Aid, which is like a sugary powdered drink that you mix with water, whereas the father, Wayne, would then consume the baby formula. I literally cannot make this up. So at this time, Justine had a job. She worked in a pub, and so she would often take her infant child with her to work. Whilst this is not the greatest location for a baby to be, I mean, she needed to do what she needed to do, and I guess it's better than the baby being left home alone. Wayne, on the other hand, when left in charge of the infant, his own child, by the way, would drop the baby off at Saunders' food cart, completely intoxicated. Yeah, he would literally leave his infant child with a complete stranger and go off gallivanting. Definitely father of the year. It's also alleged that the baby was physically assaulted on multiple occasions, not by Saunders, but by the baby's own parents. A doctor who later examined the baby testified in 2020 that the baby had bruises that were around 5 days old on his head, his chest, and his right arm, as well as having a rash on his bottom. The couple would purposefully miss appointments and vaccinations so that the nurses wouldn't see the bruises on the baby's body. Yeah, we're definitely talking parents of the year. But wait, as if all of that was not bad enough, it gets worse. So, after a couple weeks of knowing Saunders, the couple then decided it was time. it was time to attempt to sell their baby to her. What? So this is how it went down. Wayne had initially approached her and he said, look, you can buy this baby for 2,000 Rand and I'll go with you to Home Affairs so you can register the child as your own. Super casual conversation, right? Saunders, obviously thinking that this might be a joke or this cannot be real life, was just like, no, and she left it. And then the very next day, it was Justine who approached her and said, look, I will sell you the baby for 2,500 Rand. I just really need the money because I want to leave my husband and I want to leave this area. Saunders, obviously, once again, did not accept this proposal. And so, like clockwork, Wayne was back the following day. He had come back to find out if Saunders was going to accept his proposal. It was at this point that she had told him about his wife. Look, keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that they both were fully aware of what was going on. I get the feeling. Upon hearing about his wife's proposal, he then lowered the price to 1,000 Rand. Please keep in mind that this is the price of his own child's life that he is bargaining and discussing. And then, the very next day, guess who was back? Yeah, it was Justine. She was back and she told Saunders, okay, fine. She'd reduce the price to 500 Rand. Yeah, this is some sick and twisted version of bargaining for a human life. And a human life that you created. What? So Saunders, although concerned for the baby, didn't want to really get involved in this very illegal and sordid deal. So Justine had left, but not for long, because the very next day, both Wayne and Justine were right back there at the food cart. This time, however, they were threatening to kill the infant if Saunders did not buy him. Justice would be along quite swiftly though, as an individual who overheard this conversation reported it to the police. The police, together with Saunders, set up an undercover operation to trap the couple. So this is how it went down. The police had given Saunders the 500 Rand to buy the baby, and she had got in touch with the couple. They had met outside of the couple's home where Justine had handed over the baby in exchange for the money. Wayne was waiting inside of the house. Immediately after the exchange, Justine had gone back inside the home. And it was a few moments later when police had stormed into the home, confiscating the money and arresting the couple. The baby was immediately taken to a healthcare facility for observation. So, after being in custody for a while, the couple were finally convicted and found guilty in November of 2021 at the Pretoria High Court. They were found guilty of child neglect, common assault, and failure to register a child. Justine was also additionally found guilty of human trafficking because, she tried to sell her baby. So they are currently in custody and they will continue to be as the matter has been postponed to the 1st of February 2022 for sentencing. Whilst researching this case, I came across both of the couple's Facebook pages. And boy, oh boy, was that a journey. So besides the casual check-in into prison on Wayne's page, it also appears that the couple have other children. I just hope that these kids are safe with family, as I was unable to ascertain any further details in that regard. Wayne, however, doesn't believe that he is guilty and is adamant that he never attempted to sell his baby, even though there is literal evidence stating otherwise. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap on that. I usually conclude each episode with a Bella bottom line. So seeing as though we're looking at 2 cases today, let me sum it up. So firstly, it's the sentiment that I share in many of my episodes, and that is that you can never truly know the darkness behind someone's eyes. Flavio, to the eye, appeared to be an intelligent, funny, and kind man. but he could be capable of so much more that no one would have ever thought possible. So whether it was money, family, or mental illness that drove him to commit the act he allegedly committed, in the end, an innocent life was lost. And speaking of innocent, Wayne and Justine were blessed with a baby, something that many couples long for. But instead of nurturing their child, they attempted to sell him for a mere 500 rand. Whether the motive was drugs, desperation, or a far darker plot, either way, this innocent young infant will spend many years of his life without either of the people who were instrumental in giving him life. And the unfortunate realization is that having a child doesn't necessarily make one a parent. And I'm pretty sure that was evident in today's case. So that concludes today's episode. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. If you kind of liked hearing about a couple true crimes that occurred most recently in South Africa in a shorter format, or if you prefer the longer, more in-depth cases. In any case, I would like to try and switch it up, and I'd like to start bringing more aspects and dimensions to the channel as it grows. As always though, I am so thankful for each and every single one of you who every single week watch my videos and leave me comments. Oh, even if I can't respond to all of them immediately, I always do. I respond to every single comment and I appreciate them more than you will ever know. It's like I know your names off by heart now, and I get so excited when I see a comment from someone who's commented before. I feel like I know you, even though I don't. So I really hope that, I don't want to say you enjoyed the video because I'm not really sure that you can enjoy a true crime video, but I really hope that you found something useful, something interesting, and that you learned something ultimately from today's video and from my videos in general. So until next time, my loves, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay the amazing human beings that I really do hope each and every one of you are. Bye!